Nick, where's the Civil War rank in your long history here?
Well, whenever you win, it's always a good win. I learned a long time ago as a young coach. I think maybe about 20 something years ago, we had played a team that wasn't very good. I'm not talking about Oregon State. And we should have beat them badly, and we didn't play well, but we won. And I wasn't happy at that time because I didn't understand how hard it is to get a win. So I guess what I'm saying is there are no ugly wins. There's only good wins. And this was a good win. To be 10-2 is I know it's incredible. I know it's not exactly where we want to be, but 10-2 is a good season, and our offense played incredible. It was a really good. That was a really good football game. You talk about a good football game. That was a fantastic football game. Maybe not so much as a coach, but it was really a fantastic football game if you're a fan. So it stands up there probably. It'll never replace that 94 Rose Bowl, but this one will be remembered for a long time.
Will? Coach, last 30 seconds of the game, what are you trying to convey to your players? What do you want your players focusing on in those last 30 seconds when you're trying to prevent a score?
Well, we put in what we called this week. It's funny how things turn out the way you practice something you don't think it's going to ever happen. We put in an odd victory defense. And so the last three plays, we played odd victory, which basically was a three-man rush. And guys run with the four receivers. And then we have four guys deep to prevent any long pass. And also that play that we talked about, the Boise State play, which they tried there at the end. But if you have a guy anyway, I can't remember the question now. When you get a little bit older, you forget stuff. But so you could ask it again if I didn't answer it. I'm sorry. Okay.
Jake in the back.
Nick, on Tuesday, you were pretty adamant about how great a 10-win season is and how good it feels to win 10 games and how big of a deal that is. Now that you guys have won 10 games, how do you feel?
Look at my face. I'm very happy. 10 wins is hard to accomplish. I don't care who you are. I don't know. I'll look at it tomorrow or Sunday at the records of people. But, we've won 12 games 3 years prior to this, and we won 10 games the 2 years prior to that. So the standard of the bar we know has been set high. I think everybody understands that. But I don't think that a 10-win season, and I hope I'm not disrespectful to anybody, in particular Mark Helfrich, who I think has done a great job as our head coach in his first year. I don't think we should ever be ashamed or feel bad about 10 wins. When we do, I know we have great heights. I understand that. But if a 10-win season never becomes good enough, then we're in a sad state of affairs because it's hard to win 10 games. And maybe one of these days we'll get to that 13th or 14th, and we all want that. But right now we only could have been 10-2, and we're all walking out here tonight 10-2, so feel very good about that.
Yeah, Nick, they ran for a lot of yards. They'd not really run the ball all year. They ran for a lot of yards tonight. Can you talk about that? But you didn't give it up anything deep to Cooks. Was that part of the thing to stop their run? The second part of the question is, did you let him score with a minute and a half left?
I'd like to say we did, but I can't take any credit for that. We were discussing timeouts and stuff like that, whether we have to use it, and our offense is incredible. If our offense has a minute and 40 and 3 timeouts, that's like having a whole quarter when they're clicking on all cylinders. The first part of them running the ball for a lot of yards and all that, not happy about that, but we'll look at that on film and try to correct it and stuff. Cooks is a really good football player. Wow, is he special. And I think Mannion's a very good quarterback. And yeah, we played a lot more nickel and stuff like that, and we didn't want them to run the ball as well as they did, but I'll let them have all those yards as long as we have that one more point.
Right here.
Nick, at this point, sort of, what's your plan in terms of this next month leading up to the bowl game, and just the plan with the team, and where do you want to see the improvements on the defense heading into the bowl game?
Well, we'll reevaluate that after we look at the film. First of all, they need a week to get some time off. We have our banquet tomorrow. We go on the road recruiting. We'll practice Saturday and Sunday. I understand, kind of a vanilla practice for the first Saturday and Sunday weekends. And then, we'll regroup. This team, these kids are great kids. They really are. Things don't always go the way you have them planned or the way you'd like them drawn up. But I'm not feeling bad or have no excuses about anything right now. I'm very happy we won. That's all I can tell you right now. I'm extremely happy that we won. And there'll be better days on our side. First half now, we're in pretty bad position field-wise. If you look back at that, it's a 14 and I'm just a realist. It's a 14-0 game, and we muff a punt, which is part of the game. No telling if we catch that and go down and score. That thing might have been one of those fold your tent type of deals. But Oregon State hung in there. Mike Riley's a good football coach. That's a good football team. I have a lot of respect for Riley and his team. Our games are always kind of tough, and just glad that we're walking away with the win. We'll fix all the other stuff when we get a chance to regroup.
Nick, it feels like there's been a lot of pressure on this team, a lot of pressure to be perfect. Do you feel like in a game like this with the adrenaline going, guys can just kind of shrug that off and go have fun, play football?
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I might have had more fun coaching tonight than I've had in a long time. Because it was exciting. It was competitive. There was highs and lows. There were times where you got really frustrated because maybe a young man, I didn't coach him well enough for him to be where he needed to be. There were fumbles, there were interceptions, there were long passes, there were some runs that we gave up. But that was one great football game. And I think what makes it even greater is the fact that we're able to sit here with the win. But that was truly one of the most fun games to ever be a part of, regardless of the stats, regardless of the score. But certainly the outcome had a lot to do with how we all feel.
Hey, Coach, can you just reflect a little bit on this group of seniors, on your defense, and especially after this game? What was the locker room celebration like, especially maybe with some of those seniors?
Well, they're still kids. They were jumping up and down. I haven't seen the field get rushed in a long time at home because all the other games, I think, were blowouts. And that was the first one where it was really a game. But they were dancing in the locker room, high-fiving each other, acting just like kids should act because it's a game and the game is fun. And it looked to me like they had a lot of fun playing the game, and they had even more fun feeling good about each other after the game was over. We talked about Mark, myself, all the coordinators, everybody that gets a chance to talk to the team. We talked about, or at least I mentioned that when the game was over, make sure that you brought a lot of spirit. Make sure that you could look to the guy to your left, to the person to your left, and look to the person to your right. And you could be honest with them and how you played, and they could be with you. But most importantly, make sure you look in the mirror at the end of the game and that you felt true to yourself. To me, that was the most important thing tonight, that be able to look in the mirror and be able to say, I played one heck of a game, or at least I left it all out there for my teammates. And there were a lot of guys that did that. Like I said, it wasn't always pretty. I'm not going to make any excuses for that. I think they played hard.
Were you dancing after the game?
My heart was dancing a whole bunch.
I don't have quite the moves as I used to have since my hips have been replaced. But I owe Catherine Aliotti some dances here in the near future, and I promise we will dance.
Last question right here, Will.
Coach, you've seen a lot of these Civil War games. You've seen games where the team has come in with a chance to go to a Rose Bowl, a chance to go to a big game and win, and come in and lose. This is sort of different in that there wasn't anything specific writing on this game, not a Rose Bowl, not the other team playing for Rose Bowl. How does that change the mentality going forward? Is it different to have your hands off of everything at this point?
I respect you. You're a young man. I don't know what you're talking about.
You come into this game and you're not necessarily playing for a Rose Bowl. You're not necessarily playing to go to a bowl game. It's somewhere in the middle. How does that change the emotion before the game and before and after the game too?
Not at all. Whenever you line up to play a football game, hopefully your emotions are high and you want to win and you want to play the best of your ability. Yes, we played in some great games to go to the Rose Bowl. We played in some great games to go to the national championship. It shouldn't matter what's at stake. What should matter is that you have an opportunity to play this great game of football and you're not guaranteed another down or another day. So hopefully you make the most of it and you take every opportunity to play as great and as hard as you can.
Thank you, Coach.